As usual, our day started very early in the morning, and our first encounter today was this group of white-backed vultures perched in the treetops. This individual was particularly calm and spent quite a bit of time looking around it in that typical vulture fashion. We moved off and came across this group of ground squirrels. They're very adept at burrowing and obviously foraging for food, and these little scratching movements were really quite effective. The diet consists mainly of vegetables, roots, leaves, seeds, but apparently they're also quite fond of termites when they can get them. Now this is when it got really interesting. A group of meerkats came upon them, and I thought that there might be a bit of an altercation. But I was completely wrong. They were very content and very calm with one another's presence, and they do even share burrows at times.
Today I'm back up in Tongpapu National Park, and I've come across this Oriental whip snake. It's a lovely snake. You can see the long snout there, characteristic of these whip snakes, and the very slender build. And when moving, it had this amazing feature where the tongue was stuck out straight from the mouth. Now, the snake is not using its tongue for picking up scent here, because that would require taking the tongue back into the mouth. This appears to be a feature for making the snout look even more long and pointed than it already is. When alarmed, it will puff its neck up, and then you can see some yellow scales and black scales are revealed.
As we depart to our dive site on the edge of the fringe reef, we usually run through a sheltered section of islands named the Rock Islands. Even on windy days, very little wind gets in here, but today was just an absolute stunner. In amongst the Rock Islands, there are many marine basins. Sometimes they are referred to as lakes, but this is inaccurate as it does have an opening to the sea. This is in fact Mandarin Fish Lake, and it is beautiful, completely protected, and the water is crystal clear. Then as we head out of the Rock Islands, we come to some of the outer islands that sit just within the protective barrier reef. This is in fact Oolong Island. So on the beach itself, it was fairly narrow with a big cliff wall probably 10 meters above the high water mark. But very protected and very pretty. These trees with the intertwining roots had staked their claim on the side of the cliff, not having an issue with burying their roots straight into the beach sand. These protected coves offer a nursery to these small fish. It was an absolutely beautiful day today and a real privilege to be on the water in and about Palau.
Lesotho and the Maluti Mountains are full of surprises. We'd come 2,685 meters above sea level. The road that was visible just an hour ago had been covered already. Ever since being here in Lesotho in the winter, I've been trying to see ice rats in the snow. So today we were attempting to drive to the spot where we had filmed them in different weather conditions before. When we eventually got to the place, the snow lay already a few centimeters high, and all their burrows had been covered. The next day, it was a different place. The snow had melted and been blown away in the wind. We were really happy to see ice rats, and now they were really living up to their name. With the warmer weather, more rats had appeared, and the feeding had become more intense. Up here in the mountains, the ice rats are not the only ones feeding on the grass and vegetation. Clanging bells signaled the arrival of the shepherd, his dogs, and his sheep. The ice rats also seemed curious and stood up and peered. But they didn't stand like this for long and were soon back to their frenetic feeding. As we all know, that you never can tell what the weather can do up here, so make hay while the sun shines.